Anthony from Dallas, Texas. Can we officially call the Texas A&M #1 class in 2022 a bust? Yes. Yes. I think we've mostly arrived at that conclusion. Yeah, it's a bust. Historic bust. What do you remember about this? Even people who don't follow recruiting remember this. This was the beginning of the NIL feeding frenzy. This was when we kind of knew what the acronym stood for, and we knew that it was coming. It was sort of on the horizon, and then all of a sudden it was in our face. And then I had Jimbo Fisher being called out by Nick Saban, and then Saban apologizing, and then Jimbo wearing jeans to a press conference and just excoriating Nick Saban publicly, called him a narcissist, called him the devil. Again, this was on live TV. And so then we have Jimbo on signing day call out Bro Bible, call out Sliced Bread. Did it on air. We had him on air, right, Jesse? So I was hosting the signing day show for CBS in Fort Lauderdale. We had Jimbo on live. It was like, it feels like 100 years ago, but it wasn't. So why was that happening? Well, it's because Texas A&M signed the highest rated class ever. Okay, according to Rivals, that class had 9 5-star rated players. To give you an idea, Bama and Georgia combined to have less 5-star players than A&M had, and Bama and Georgia were the #2 and #3 classes. So it was A&M, and then there was a canyon, and then there was everyone else, and it went off the rails. It went totally off the rails for all kinds of different reasons. This is one of those situations where, in retrospect, everyone said, oh, a blind man could have seen that coming. Well, let me just put it this way. Not everyone was that vocal when A&M signed the class. People were terrified when A&M signed the class. As it turns out, A&M fans should have been terrified when A&M signed the class. Shocking numbers here. Out of the 30 players in that Texas A&M signing class, only 4 of them finished their career with Texas A&M. I have a list. I can't even read it all. Like Walter Nolan ends up transferring to Ole Miss. Evan Stewart heads to Oregon. L.T. Overton at Bama. Gabriel Brownlow Dindy. He was South Carolina, right, Jesse? Yep. Denver Harris, half a dozen teams. We think he's at UNLV now. Chris Marshall, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Boise. Connor Wegman's at Houston still. Jacoby Matthews went to Auburn. N.I. White, Penn State, Oklahoma State. Anthony Lucas, USC. Cam Dewberry, Alabama. I'm not even a third of the way through the signing class. 4 of them finished their career at Texas A&M. And it was a classic example of basically one day Jimbo just walked into the office and said, we're going to sign the #1 class. Don't care how. We're going to sign the #1 class. You're telling us that we can legally go pay players now? Well, we're going to go sign the #1 class. And they did. There was this grocery store game show back in the day. I was a very, very young, impressionable youth. And it was called Supermarket Sweep. I don't even know what the format of the game was. All I know is there was a part of the show where you got a shopping cart and they put you in a grocery store and you just got to run up and down the aisles and put as much as you could in the shopping cart in like 60 seconds. Well, that was essentially Texas A&M's recruiting strategy in 2022. And they put a bunch of 5 stars in the shopping cart. Now, did they properly evaluate these players? No. Did they properly evaluate character? Who cares? They're 5 stars. Just load them up. Well, we'll figure it out. Did they care about any kind of core philosophy? Did they even have a philosophy? Did they adhere to it? No, and no. We just got a bunch of 5 stars. They'll win. We got a bunch of parts. That'll create the machine. We got a house. We're just going to go buy the most expensive furniture from 15 different stores and throw it in there. And then a designer's going to walk in and say, what happened in this house? Hey, quick time out here. Are you subscribed to the channel? It doesn't cost anything. It's free. Please do it. It helps us maintain the show at this level. That's it. That's all I got. Back to the clip. What do you mean what happened? We got the best furniture that money can buy. Yeah, but there's no design. There's no feng shui, as Meemaw would talk about. And I never do. But I do remember the early fear. Like when A&M first signed this class, folks were worried that this was the new way of college football. Saban was worried enough about it to start speaking publicly on it. Yeah, Kirby, I can guarantee you, did not enjoy this. Still does not really enjoy this era. And it's because they did not fundamentally shift how they do things. What happened was it took what would be a solid, effective recruiting strategy from Georgia, and it threw a wrench into the blender. And it threw this element of, well, now it really is a bidding war. Now, people always run around and say, oh, it always was a bidding war. Oh, it was always like this. No, it wasn't. You're foolish if you say that. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. There are two truths in the room. It can be true that money always exchanged hands. That can be true, while it's also insane to say money changed hands at the level and degree it did starting in like 2022. No, this is a whole new ballgame. I'm not even here to say it's right or wrong. Well, obviously it was wrong strategically. I'm not even here to say, I'm just here to call balls and strikes on it. Like, this fundamentally changed the approach, or it fundamentally changed the truth of other programs that had existed for a long time, doing it the older school way atop the recruiting rankings. But there was this thought that, oh, this is what college football is going to be now? Oh, the highest bidder is just going to be the one that wins all the time. Then people chuckle, because people will say, you mean like the highest bidder already was winning all the time? And then you get into the aforementioned debate about whether it really was always that way or not. But Jimbo is obviously not the head coach at Texas A&M anymore. This experience is what necessitated the Mike Elko hire, because Elko was there. And then Elko moved on and got his head coaching shot at Duke. And Mike Elko is a supreme example of someone who is a plus in the areas they lacked during this area. You need an evaluator, you need a developer, you need someone who understands core philosophies and principles and values of a program and how to recruit congruent to those. That's Mike Elko. And I don't know that they get to where they're ready to hire Elko, or they need to hire Elko, if they don't experience this. So yes, it is the pound for pound, probably the biggest busted recruiting class that we've ever seen in the history of recruiting rankings. I don't even know who number 2 would be, but that's number 1. Memories. I just telling you, we had Jimbo on National Signing Day, and I don't even remember what question it was. I wish we could pull we don't own the footage, but I wish we could have pulled the footage. Call Stanko, see if we could pull the footage. Just send it to us. But man, he asked me to repeat a question, and it was like he thought I was throwing an allegation at him. I wasn't. And then he just goes off about all the things that people were alleging that they were doing. I love Jimbo Fisher, by the way. I think we should get him on the speaker series. I worked with him at the national title game. I stood next to him for the Miami A&M game. I wish you guys could experience watching a game with Jimbo Fisher. You would think Jimbo Fisher is the smartest person on the face of the earth. You would think that he has the spoilers, like he has already seen the game script with how he can call a game 1 and 2 plays ahead. Boggling of the mind. That's what that experience is like.